Welcome to the Content Blurs. I'm your host, Ace Boogie, joined by my co-host, T-Will904. T-Will, what's going on?
What's going on, world? How everybody going? How everybody doing today?
Chilling, bro. So we got to get into it. So if you have not watched WandaVision episode 8, this is your warning now to clear it. We're going to discuss it. I don't want to drop any spoilers or anything. I don't want to drop any predictions for you. So if you haven't watched it yet, please go ahead and exit the stream. You can come back later and watch it as well. But if you are here and you want to discuss things and you want it to be read, please be sure to leave something in the comments for us. But let's get into it. Episode 8. Obviously, this was an episode where we got answers to a lot of things. Number one, how the hex was created. Number two, also some things about Hayward and his role and everything that's going on, where his background came from. And then we also got Agatha Harkness, where her background is. And that's kind of how the episode opens. We see something that looks similar to the Salem witch trials, and we see them condemning her for practicing dark magic, right? So they're getting ready to kill her, and then her dark magic overpowers them. And we also get to see that her mom was there, which was kind of crazy because at first they don't reveal that as her mom. It's just this lady that she's looking at, and then she's like, "Mom, come on." And then obviously she takes and overpowers the other witches and kills them, and then her mom tries to kill her, and she ends up killing her mom, and then she kind of walks away.
Can I interrupt you for a second? I just want to try to bring up something. Do you think it was something to the crown that her mom had when she tried to power up?
It's possible. I think that's a great catch. It could be something tied to that. Definitely. I think it could be for sure. The other thing is also in the episode, we saw like her kind of try to figure out how Wanda created the hex, right? And then we find out that she has the two kids. She's holding them. She's kind of holding them hostage and making Wanda go back through different parts of her life to figure out how the hex was created, right? So they go all the way back to when her and her brother were kids, and they show like the bomb going there, and they don't show you whether or not she was able to stop it. She says that it was just a fake one, but the bomb was actually from Stark Industries. But this had to be, given the time, I'm thinking that this was possibly Howard Stark, but it could have been, I think it was Cold War times. It could have been Tony Stark as well. But then it goes to different moments in her life, and it actually gets to the biggest part, the biggest moment of how the hex was created, right? And we find out that she did go to Sword, but she didn't steal Vision's body like Hayward lied about. So Hayward is a liar. We already know that. And it wasn't that she was just torn up about not having Vision. She had kind of moved on and was just like, hey, I just want to give him a proper burial. Let's get this done. Like, let's just, he deserves better than that. And Hayward was not treating Vision like a person. He was treating him like a machine. He was not even calling him a person. He was like, I'm not going to let you bury all of this vibranium, $6 million worth of vibranium, just so you could put it in the ground. And then he showed that they were putting him back together. And it was really inhumane. It was just like, wow, you just got Vision's body like all over the place. Shredded. And so she basically ends up leaving. Like, she says her goodbye to him, which is very emotional because she says that she can't feel him. And so she just, wipes it up, chalks it up, leaves, and goes to Westview. And then we figure out why Westview is the setting for all of this, because she gets there, and I guess Vision had purchased this property and said that they were going to grow old in it, but the building never got finished, right? So she gets there, she reads the letter, and she's just upset because the building never got finished for their house. And initially, to me, it seemed like she was just trying to build the house with her power, and she's starting to build the house, but then she kind of loses control, and then it just does this whole big effect of where it creates the hex, everything in Westview changes, and then she creates her own version of Vision. And she misses him so much that she's just like, all right, like I'm just with this or whatever. And so then after that, we see how Westview started and how it got created. And then we see what Hayward's aspect of it was, and then we see what Agatha's kind of inspiration is to just try to figure this out. And then it gets to the part where it's like, okay, this looks like this is about to be a showdown between Wanda and Agatha. And originally, people are probably wondering, like, how was she able to do this with Wanda? Wanda, she had some kind of protection spell where while she was holding the kids hostage and while Wanda was going through all of these moments in her life, she couldn't use any of her magic. But then somehow they break out of that and they're in the streets. And so it's basically gearing up for that aspect of it. And then you get to the after credits and then you see that Hayward has rebuilt Vision and that it's the White Vision. So was there anything that I left out, T. Will? I know there might have been some stuff that I left out.
You seem to about cover what happened in the episode pretty good, yeah.
All right, so you talk about some key items that you talked about. You mentioned the crown. Oh, the other thing I did leave out something important. They showed her looking at herself. They showed how she got her powers. It was from one of the stones that just amplified it. So they claimed that she already had the powers there dormant, but that amplified it. They also showed which shows inspired her. Go ahead, T. Will.
I definitely like the way that they showed how the sitcoms that she watched over her life pretty much inspired what was going on in WandaVision.
Right.
What was also kind of crazy to me about that was the fact that throughout the time that she's watching these sitcoms, she is dealing with so much trauma.
Right.
And this is literally like the sitcoms were her way to kind of get away from that trauma. You feel me?
Right.
So in a sense, WandaVision, her creating Westview, was essentially her doing that in real life.
Right.
Was creating a sitcom for her life to get away from all the real trauma that was going on outside of her bubble.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, like you said, you see the tie-ins and how everything happened, how it did, because that old sitcom, like you talk about the first 2 episodes, which I wasn't a fan of, and I'm on record of saying that I don't even care, even though I know it makes it a little bit more bearable now, and I get way more of an understanding now. But it showed that original show she used to watch with her parents, right? And that's when she lost her parents. Was, they were supposed to watch that show. That was the last show that they watched together. It was her favorite show, and then unfortunately, her parents are killed. And her brother are the only ones left. So like you said, it's a culmination of her trauma. And then they also showed the Malcolm in the Middle later on during certain times. I think she was actually watching that when she talked to Vision, and they started to kind of romanticize their relationship. So it was just a dope episode. Like it answered a lot of questions. The one thing I'll say is I don't think that we're going to get like any X-Men popping up. Like we also found out that it was a fake Pietro, but she still didn't explain who it actually is.
Right, because she said that her real brother was already shot up in another continent. So it's like, where'd you get this guy from?
Yeah, exactly. So she called him Pietro, which is fake Pietro. So we'll have to figure out who exactly he is. But she also alluded that she influenced Pietro or fake Pietro as well to come up there and talk. So it was really her taking over his body and making him come up to the door and knock on the door to get Wanda, because she knew that would kind of play on her heartstrings a little bit. So she kind of did that herself as well. The one thing that I don't know, that we still don't know, is how Agatha entered the hex. Like, how did she get there? Because that's what I'm wondering about.
Yeah, where did she come from, and what is her connection into like getting there? How does she even know about Wanda?
Right.
And another thing that was weird about bringing up knowing about Wanda is Hayward. Like for some reason, I felt like Hayward knew that Wanda could bring Vision back to life.
Right, and that's okay. So that was also answered too, because Hayward had said, they were trying to find an energy source to charge him. And technically it ended up being Wanda's magic that was the energy source. But then I guess when she expanded the hex, they were able to get a bit of that energy resource to charge his new version of Vision, which was the White Vision. So that's how he actually got Vision to wake up. So that's why he was so interested about going into the hex, because he feels that Wanda is kind of like the battery for Vision, and she'd be able to supply that power source for her. The other thing that they mentioned that I forgot to say is when she goes in and she is able to get her powers amplified by this Infinity Stone, she sees something. And a lot of people have like focused the picture, and she sees actually herself as a Scarlet Witch. The
Yeah.
other thing is Agatha already knows the legend of the Scarlet Witch, right? Agatha wants to prevent her from becoming the Scarlet Witch because the Scarlet Witch has powers on a whole other level. So Agatha appears to be there to kind of stop her because she knows the legend of the Scarlet Witch. And it's funny because it almost seems like a parallel when you talk about Dragon Ball, how Frieza was worried about the legend of the Super Saiyan. He was always trying to stop that legend from coming to fruition because they know if she or if Goku got to that point or if any Saiyan got to that point, they would not be able to stop them. They'd be super powerful. So it seems that her big thing was that. And then I take it back to the beginning. You talked about Agatha's mom having the crown. Was the crown that of a Scarlet Witch? I haven't gone back and rewatched it. Was that the Scarlet Witch crown or no?
I watched it twice. It didn't look like a Scarlet Witch. It didn't look like the Scarlet Witch crown, but it looked similar. So like, when those witches were trying to stop Agatha, did they think that she was the Scarlet Witch because she was just that much more powerful than everybody else?
That's what I wonder. Like, it doesn't seem like Wanda is using dark magic, but maybe it could be something like that. So we got a comment here from Vision. Is there 10 episodes of WandaVision? It says only 2 episodes left in Marvel's last post. I thought we were only getting 9. Are we getting 10?
I was under the impression we were getting 9. I haven't seen anything.
If we're getting 10, I'm here for it. I just thought that we had heard so far that it was 2, but that's a good thing. I'll have to look into that Vision and check that post on Twitter and see if they say only 2 episodes left. That would be amazing. 2 Will Photo is asking, so WandaVision takes place before Endgame? No, it takes place after Endgame.
I want to say it's a couple weeks after Endgame, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, a couple weeks, like you said, like T Will is saying, after Endgame. Let's talk about White Vision because I know we don't have Proxy on. He kind of gave me a summary on who White Vision is. He says, I asked, what's the significance of White Vision? He said, nothing really. That's just the body that he had when he was brought back to life, but he was less human and he didn't have as much emotions. But honestly, it's just a classic look. What are your views on White Vision, T. Will?
First of all, I'm not gonna lie, I like the look. I just kind of like the sleek and all white, so that's pretty cool. But man, I honestly feel like it's gonna be like a weird battle. I don't know who's gonna battle. Like who's gonna fight? Like
who wants to, who it's gonna have to be, just in my opinion, it's gonna have to be Agatha versus Wanda and Vision versus Vision. Vision versus Vision. Paul Bettany, a lot of people said that he was trolling when he was like, I've got to work with an actor that I just love to work with and this and that. And they said it may have been that he was talking about himself.
Yeah. Hey, that would be funny. That's some good trolling right there. But the one thing I want to say though is like, what about Monica? Like,
Monica is that's where it's gonna get interesting, right? Because like sometimes, because if we're watching the MCU, I'm looking at some of the common themes. Sometimes, and I'm gonna pull this one from Thor Ragnarok, right? The guy with the 2 shotguns, right? Originally, he was on the good side, right? And then Hela shows up, and he's like, "Man, I can't rock with her. She's too powerful or whatever. I'm gonna just have to be up under her guard." But then later in the movie, he switches back to the good side, sacrifices himself. So I think originally what we'll see is if fake Pietro is under Agatha's control, I think he will be fighting against Monica Rambeau initially. And I think something will happen to where he comes on their side and he tries to help, and it's hard to say because the Vision that's created in the Hex, which one is actually the good Vision, right? Because technically he's fake. Technically, if the Hex is destroyed, it destroys him too, right? So, we've seen that Vision is actually cool with the Hex going and those people being free, but it's crazy. It's crazy.
that just hit me even harder. Like, okay, so if the hex is gone, and that means that the vision that's inside the hex disappears, what happens with them kids?
That's what I wonder too. Like that is so. Here's the other thing, right? Agatha also mentioned that Wanda was able to recreate or procreate life. So that means to me, that sounds like those kids might be real now. Like she actually created, because she was like, that's something that only a Scarlet Witch can do, right?
Wow.
And so maybe the kids are real now. Maybe the kids can come out of the hex, but maybe Vision can't. And I don't know what the difference is between the kids and Vision. I don't know what the significance is of that. But I don't know, bro. Like, it's crazy. That's a great thing. Like, if the kids have to die with that too, that's gonna be another reason that she doesn't want to destroy the hex. Is crazy. It's almost wild.
But they can't give us they can't give us these kids with the abilities, and then all of a sudden they got to go with the hex. Like,
That's what I'm wondering. So I'm wondering a lot of things. Like, if she hits Scarlet Witch level, which we think that she is, it's gonna have to be awakened once she fights Agatha, right? Is she gonna be then that powerful for them to be able to survive outside of the hex? Like, this is what I can see happening. This is just pure speculation. This is not me reading Reddit posts or anything like that. Those posts are out there for people that want some of the leak spoilers. But this is what I could see happening. I'm wondering if White Vision will survive this, and somehow the old Vision gets transported, his subconscious and all of that, his spirit gets put into the White Vision, and now we get Vision back. But it's not the old Vision, it's still like a reprogrammed Vision, and maybe he keeps the white look, right? But maybe he gets reprogrammed that way, and it kind of brings them together. Like when you talk about what was it, like Majin Buu or whatever, like when he fused with somebody else, like the fat Boo and the skinny Boo, the good Boo took over. So maybe it'll be something like that. And then I also think the kids are going to be real somehow. Like the hex is going to end, but the characters from there are still going to exist. And I think that the two kids will be out there, and then they will be a part of the MCU. And then I also think, who else am I thinking? I'm thinking Pietro. I'm thinking he's gonna be the one from the X-Men. That's just my thoughts. I think he is gonna be that, because you also have to show how people from other universes are coming over, and I think he's gonna come, and that's gonna kind of start to unravel with the multiverse. Because I also watched Doctor Strange, right? They talked about the multiverse in Doctor Strange. That went over my head. They talked about it in the first one, and they were like, at the end of that, because of what Doctor Strange did, and that makes sense why he's showing up now. Doctor Strange technically cheated to defeat Dormammu, right? He kind of manipulated the magic to do that. And I can't recall his name, but the guy that was his partner, Mordo, I think, was like, bro, you still manipulated it. So there's gonna be consequences to pay for that. One of the consequences of that could actually be the multiverse opening. So I think that's why Doctor Strange is going to show up there, because he's like, all right, I kind of started this. Wanda's pushing it too and kind of changing things. And I think that's how Pietro or fake Pietro ends up in that universe. And that's when I think we're going to see more people from that universe, possibly Spider-Man and those guys possibly coming into the universe that way from other universes. Because they talk about the complete multiverse if you haven't rewatched Doctor Strange in a long time, rewatch it, because like they literally show the multiverse, they literally talk about it, and they say because of what Doctor Strange did with defeating Dormammu, trapping him in time and forcing him to change whatever happened, that there's going to be something to pay for that. That's what Mordo said. He said the bill still comes due, right? And so it's like, yeah, you did that, but there's going to be consequences that happened with that. They also did it too with reversing the snap. That had to be something that also messed with it as well. So the hell of that, I think, is going to be that this multiverse is opening and all of these things are going to change. And then you talk about Wanda altering reality and her own thing. Somehow I feel like that's all going to be connected.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be a great connection. I mean, as far as Pietro is concerned, I mean, there's no possible way that you can tell me that they spent time hiring this man to play the same exact role from a different movie and
And
say,
then
oh,
not make him that.
and then not make him that, and then not keep him around. Like, this isn't a guy who just, like, just shows up for like a couple episodes and then disappears. Like, he's gonna have to be seen in other movies. Like, so unless Marvel is just trying to play with our heads, but why? But why even go that? Why even go to that length to get somebody who pretty much played the same character in a different movie with a different backing? You know what I'm saying? It was Fox instead of Marvel.
Right. And I think like even back then, even as a fan of the MCU, I think when you go back and watch First Class and him being in the second one, I believe as well, he stole the show. He was the better Quicksilver. Like if you ask like Marvel fans just in general, Evan Peters was the better Quicksilver. So why not bring that Quicksilver over into this universe? And you can do that with saying this is him from the other universe. We killed off the other one, but he's still there.
Right. And uh, it just kind of bothers me a little bit because those X-Men movies weren't my favorite.
Right.
So it's like, it kind of bothers me that he was in those. So it's like, dang, I wish we would have got like a more clever Pietro and all that. So
Right.
let's keep it all. I mean, hopefully it all comes together and it's not just Agatha just being Agatha.
Nah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. So now we're gonna switch over into just pop culture in general, and we're gonna talk about one of our favorite shows, Snowfall. So for those who have never watched Snowfall, it's an amazing show. It's basically based about how crack and cocaine got into the Los Angeles community back early in is it the 80s? Is it like the 70s or 80s?
Like
How it was brought back into the community and like all of the different spectrums of it. So they talk about the government's role in it, how that kind of happened while they were at war, and they basically were the suppliers. And then they also talk about the people that were in. I'm not sure which country they were. I don't know if it was Colombia. I don't know if it was Mexico, but it shows like their role in assisting and stuff like that. So they're assisting the guy that's from the government, and then obviously he's supplying it to Franklin Saint, who is amazing. He's pretty much the main character. And then you watch Franklin and how kind of the drug game starts to shift and how he learns throughout the way of how to be the boss and how to be the businessman and how to take this thing to the next level. So if you haven't watched the first couple of seasons, I definitely highly recommend that you watch those. It's one of the best shows I think right now on television. And we just started with season 3. So if you haven't watched the first seasons, again, this is probably the time you want to leave. You probably want to learn some things because you're going to be lost. You're not going to know what's going on and what we're talking about until you read or until you watch that. And if you haven't watched it yet, and you're currently watching it and you're only in season 1, you probably want to lead us as well. So that's your cue to go ahead and bust it up out of here. Mm-hmm. All right. So we're gonna talk about season 3. It starts off with a bang, really. I just want to get your thoughts on what's going on with season 3. I don't know if we need to give a summary or not on what happened, or if you just want to have a discussion about like just different parts of the show.
Man, I like I like how the show is showing us like, okay, Franklin has been has been cocky. He's been able to outthink people, and all of his plans have seemed to have worked somehow, some way.
Right.
But now we see this plan to try to kill Scully just completely blow up in his face.
Right.
And not only that, Scully knows
that it was him that set him up.
That's, what I'm saying? So it's like, man, like, and Manboy knows that, they were setting Scully up. So, they know what time it is. They know where Franklin lies. But Scully is crazy.
Scully is super crazy. So everybody who's watched this show before, Scully is mentally insane. He is someone that in the season where like Franklin had to get in bed with Scully and with Manboy because they were pretty much leading certain parts of LA, right? And he wanted to just be their connect. He wanted to be the supplier for them. And he honestly didn't even want to rock with Scully. And he was able to use Manboy, ironically, to get to Scully because Manboy's baby mama, I believe, or Scully's baby mama was Manboy's sister, right? And so they set up some kind of arrangement for him to get an intro to Franklin, and essentially he just went through Manboy. So then Manboy and Scully ended up getting into a beef, and that's also kind of spurring the Crips and Bloods, like the birth of the Crips and Bloods kind of thing in terms of the gang wars. So Manboy at the end of last season, we saw went to Scully's while the uncle was going to kind of meet with them on some business, and he just sees that it went left, right? Like Manboy has gone into Scully's area, has killed some of his guys, jumped out, ran away, drove off. That's how last season ended. So now we're in the aftermath of that. So now Franklin has to deal with Scully's crazy ass directly. Like he has to deal with him. And like even when he first came there, it seemed like to me how Franklin was gonna spin it is with him having to connect on arms, he was gonna arm up both of the different sides, right? So at first it seems like he's setting Manboy and Scully up originally. That's how it's coming off. Like, all right, well, I've got to connect on guns and stuff like that. I can get you both that. So I'm thinking, all right, so maybe he's profiting off of that in some sort of way. But then we find out that the plan is for him to trust Manboy, which I don't trust Manboy. I'm sorry. When we were introduced to Manboy, it was shown that he is a person that you can't trust. But he's been acting okay so far in his relationship to Franklin, outside of starting a gang war. I mean, he technically started the war himself, but he sided with Manboy because Manboy is he's not crazy, right?
Right.
He has a temper, but he's not crazy, right? So then we find out, okay, he's playing both sides. No, he's not playing both sides. There's a plan for them to ambush and kill Scully. And so then Scully being Scully, doing all the crazy stuff that he's doing, he's like, something's going on here. He just ends up shooting up in the air for no reason because that's just Scully. That's just Scully. If you watch the show, that's just Scully. So he does that. Yeah, drug the cockroaches. And then the dude that's on Manboy's side jumps the gun and comes out shooting, and Franklin and his people get out of there. They don't know what's going on because it's like, all right. But he was like, is Scully dead? Like the whole time, like the first time we've seen Franklin paranoid and shaking and scared was when he found out Scully was not dead. Like Manboy shot him, but he did not kill him. And then he finds out through a girl that knows Scully that he's still alive and that he's looking for him. And so basically it's about to get crazy on these next couple of episodes because Scully is looking like the big bad. But I feel like if I'm predicting something, I feel like they're going to have to get rid of Scully. But I think Manboy is going to be the real big bad. I think right now they're making it seem like Manboy is on their side and this and that it's going to be done with Scully. But I think what's going to happen is they'll eventually kill Scully, but it's not going to be over. Like this is the Crips and Bloods that we're talking about. So we know that Franklin thinks in his head, I'm just trying to end this gang war, and that's how I'm going to end it is after Scully. And he's going to do that, and Manboy is like, nah, it's still like this is going to keep going on. But like you said, we've seen some chinks in Franklin's armor this season because he has gotten cocky to the point where he got shot at the end of last season. He really thought that he was going to be able to talk to Mel, and Mel also sent him a letter. It seems like this was after she shot him, right? Because it was on his birthday. He's getting a letter from Mel. Mel might be talking to the feds now. We don't even know what's going on with that situation floating on in the background. So I think it was the perfect opening to this season because I was just on the edge of my seat that entire time. And then I can't believe we forgot to talk about this. Him and Leon fell out.
Bruh. And I hate the fact, and I'm not going to lie. In that whole situation, I'm on Leon's side.
Right.
It's like bro, like these people that you dealing with, like they killed some of our people, like they did these people wrong. They've already shown that they can't be trusted, like, and you really just kind of selling your soul for the dollar at this point.
Right.
Like, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Leon is just like, he just straight hood, and he just know hood politics.
Right.
So like, and he trying to tell Franklin, like, bro, you playing a hood game, you got to know the hood politics, and
Right.
you're not really playing by them rules, right?
He definitely isn't playing by them rules right at all. Like you said, I think like everything that Leon warned him about, don't
That's
get
all.
involved in the Man Boy and Scully thing. He does. What happens? It spirals out of control. Now Scully's on his head. He was like, I told him not to do that. The other thing is, I think there's been a fracture in their relationship from the scene that everybody loves, right? Like when he's like, drive, motherfucker, drive. Like
Yeah.
that scene, he's like, oh, so you think I'm just a driver now? I'm not your driver. Like I got my own things that I can do on my own as well. Like you might have been the brains of this, but I was always kind of the muscle. Like I'm the person that talked to you and told you what to do when you were in jail and you were kind of down and stuff like that. So he was never really valued. It kind of was like I built this by myself, and it's like, nah, like I kind of helped you build it a little bit too along the way, bro. So I think that's where they're kind of moving away from each other. They can't have, bro. If he has to kill Leon, like I might be done, bro.
Bro, Leon is the realest guy on his team.
He is.
Like real talk, like everything Leon has done, it was like to have his back. You know what I'm saying? Like everything that he's done. He was going. What was the other friend name?
So I can't remember his name, but I was gonna say that friend was still in the wrong. Like
No, that
technically,
friend was still in the wrong. But
Leon, so was the other people because they turned him against them with giving him trying to get the recipe or whatever from him. So they both were in the wrong. But he was gonna kill that man in broad daylight. That was in the feds were there.
Leon was gonna do it, and Franklin was like, "Nah, I'm gonna do it." Like Leon was gonna do all of it. You know what I'm saying? Leon don't play. Leon took his girlfriend and handcuffed her to a sink.
His own girlfriend.
His own girlfriend and handcuffed her to a sink for Franklin.
It's almost kind of like that dynamic between Tommy and Ghost, like with Leon kind of being the Tommy kind of character, but just is just crazy. Like I'm not gonna say that. And that's the thing, like you said, that friend warned Leon, and he was like, "This dude is only about the money. He'll do whatever. Like it could be you or your people that got killed, and if it comes down to some money, Franklin is gonna ignore that." But to be honest, Franklin is about the money, like, and I don't think that that's a bad thing. But if when it comes to compromising, like, as long as he has that energy with himself, right? Let's just say his connect takes out his mom. That's probably not gonna happen. But let's just say that. I don't think we would see Franklin be like, oh, it's just about the money, like, or it's just about the plug and all of that. I think at that point, Franklin would be like, I feel some type of way. And I think he just needs to listen to Leon on certain things, bro. I think that's all Leon wants him to do is just take some of my advice on some things. He doesn't offer him the greatest advice all the time, but some of the advice that he has given him, I think, is in his best interest.
Of course. That's his guy though.
Like, that's his guy.
That's his guy. Like, when it come down to like to somebody that really got his back, like Leon is his guy. Now Peaches, you know what I'm saying? Peaches is that guy, but I think Peaches is just like, I need a reason to kill. I think he just got like a bloodthirst, and he just real cool, calm, and collected. But he just need a reason to kill. Like, give me a reason to kill, I do it. Cool, I'm going about my business.
Right.
Leon is his rider. Leon is like really kind of like the brains. Like I wouldn't even like Leon and his aunt.
Right. Like, and it seemed like Leon doesn't respect the aunt because he's like, I don't want to take instructions from her. He's like, nah, I'm not. He feels like he should be the lieutenant, I think.
Yeah, I just think that I think he still got that weird bad blood with the uncle too.
Yeah. He does have a bad blood with the
So it's
uncle as
like,
well.
I can't fuck with the, you know, his girlfriend slash
Right.
sister.
Right.
I
Yeah,
mean,
nah, I
um,
feel you. Yeah, it's gonna be wild for real because this season of Snowfall is just setting up for some major changes to happen. And I think when we get to the end of the season, it's gonna be crazy. And I think this is the season they tease that he's gonna move away from just focusing on LA and kind of go his whole expansion of moving across the US. And so we're gonna have to see how that is. Two Will photo says he's digging the Ultimate Warrior shirt. He was my favorite wrestler growing up. Yes, sir. Same here.
yeah,
Same here,
got them all on there.
sir. Someone asked, switching back to WandaVision, how did Wanda enter Westview in normal clothes and leave it midway with her hero costume?
What?
And that's what I'm wondering. Enter Westview with normal clothes. I mean, I think it was because that was
Oh, I
before the
guess,
hack, was it?
or I no, I guess they're talking about like a few episodes ago when she came back out and she threw the drone at him.
Oh, that's real. She
But
did.
that's her world. That's her world. Like that hex is her
That's
world.
smart. That's smart. But she left the hex. So when she did the whole, so he's saying when she did that and built the house, she had on normal clothes.
No, I'm saying like no, like I'm talking about a few episodes ago when she walked down and she was talking to Hayward
And she had the drone.
and she had the drone.
She
She
had the
came out.
drone.
She had the accent. But
And she
like,
had her costume on. But what he's saying is she did that, right? But when they show how she started the hex, she only had on normal clothes. Like when she went to go and talk to Hayward and
oh,
she came to Westview and she did that, she only had on normal clothes.
normal
So
clothes.
he's like, why didn't she have her clothes on
When
that
she
she had
walked out.
on? Maybe she left the hex and went and got something and came back. Like maybe she's been out of the hex before, but that's
Maybe
a great point.
maybe she had it with her in the car.
Possibly, possibly. I don't know. That's a good observation. I'm gonna have to go back
Dang,
and rewatch that.
I I didn't even pick up on that.
I didn't either. I didn't peep that. So the last thing that I want to talk about, we'll keep this pretty short, is they finally revealed the Spider-Man third Marvel movie title. Right, there was a lot of misdirection, phone home, all kind of crazy stuff, but it's actually No Way Home. I love that title, and I think that it's going to talk about, because when you talk about the order of these, we're talking about the Spider-Man 3 is coming first, then Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness is like after that. So I think it's called No Way Home because he's going to enter into this multiverse. And I still believe that it's going to be with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. And I think he's going to get stuck and he's not going to have No Way Home until Doctor Strange and Wanda pop up to bring him back. That's just my theory. What do you think about like No Way Home?
No Way Home. I'm kind of thinking about him getting stuck either in the multiverse or in the wrong universe.
Ooh, that's dope.
You know,
So he gets stuck in like Tobey Maguire's universe or something like
Tobey
that.
Maguire's universe or something weird like that happens.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to where like now he's kind of stuck there. Doctor Strange movie happens, and then like I guess the movie after that, we. I mean, at some point we're gonna have to get another Avengers.
Yeah, we got to get another Avengers. Like, I wonder if the Secret War is looming in the background because Secret War is when they get sent to this whole other dimension, right? And I'm still reading through it, but from what I gather, heroes and villains get sent to this whole other like universe, and they kind of got to battle it out to kind of, I think, get back to their universe. So that would be dope if that would be a lead up to all of that. That would be kind of fire.
I would enjoy that.
And then we also still haven't heard about who this aerospace engineer is. We still don't know if it's Mr. Fantastic or not. Like
Like
they
what?
kind of
They just dangled that fruit in front of us and then just took it away. Because
that's crazy.
remember Monica, I want to say the episode before she met up with the person that brought the tank. she was like, "Yeah, my guy's right up at the hill." And then like your guy, and then all of a sudden the girl comes out. Like what? What happened?
Yeah, some people were thinking that it was gonna be Blue Marvel too. So
Yeah,
I'm not holding out hope that the very last episode in the credit scene, because we've been getting the credit scenes after credit scenes. I'm gonna still hold out hope that it's gonna be a mystery reveal of someone. I still feel like just how they show White Vision at the end, it seems too easy for me for them to show like Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. Like it seems like that would be easy for him to just like pop out, like where the hell am I at, and then him take off the mask and it's Tobey. Like that would be crazy, bro. That would be crazy, but we'll have to see because these after credits are hitting us with this. I just wonder how Falcon and Winter Soldier is gonna measure up to this. I ain't even gonna lie. I don't know how they gonna measure up to WandaVision because this show has been amazing.
I think Falcon and Winter Soldier, they're gonna give us way more action. I kind of want that.
Yeah, I want that too. I definitely want that too. And I think they're gonna continue some stories and plot points that were kind of abandoned from the Captain America story. But we appreciate y'all for rocking with us. This has been the Content Blurs. T. Will, was there anything that you want to say before we get out?
No, sir, man. Thank y'all for joining us.
Thank y'all for joining us. Please be sure to hit that subscribe. Please be sure to hit that like button. We truly appreciate that. And we'll try to come to you guys with even more content. But thank you for watching the Content Blurs.